It is September 5th, 2025, Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Kansas City Chiefs are opening their season in South America, and the entire NFL world is watching. Snap 1, snap 2, snap 3. A wide receiver runs a crossing route, and his own teammate, 250 pounds of Travis Kelce, doesn't see him coming. The collision is immediate and brutal. The receiver grabs his left shoulder and walks to the sideline. He sits down. The trainers come over. And you can feel the weight of what just happened settling over the stadium, because this was supposed to be his season. Rashee Rice was suspended. The offense needed a leader. This was the moment he had been building toward since the first day he stepped on a football field in the Central Valley of California. He did not have surgery. He played the next 650 snaps of that season with a fully torn labrum and a dislocated shoulder. And when it was all over, when the Chiefs had finished 6-11 and missed the playoffs entirely, and the analysts had written their takes and the fans had aired their frustrations, he posted 2 sentences on the internet and went to work. He is 5 feet 11 inches tall. He weighs 165 pounds. At the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, he ran a 4.21-second 40-yard dash, the fastest in NFL Combine history, shattering a record that had stood since John Ross ran a 4.22 in 2017. His rookie season, 59 catches, 638 yards, 6 touchdowns. In the playoffs, alone, 19 receptions, 287 yards, 3 scores. But what you probably didn't know is that the player everyone keeps calling too small, too slight, too fragile to hold up in the NFL has spent most of his football life performing at the highest level while hurt, while doubted, and while completely alone in knowing the full truth of what he was carrying. His senior year of high school never happened. A sophomore season that looked like a step backward was actually one of the gutsiest stretches of football anyone has played in the Big 12 in years. And when he broke the most famous record in Combine history, his first reaction wasn't a celebration. It was a warning, and that is just scratching the surface. In this video, you're going to find out how a kid from Fresno, California went from a high school career that ended without a final game to becoming the fastest player in NFL Combine history. You're going to find out why the year everybody called his worst was actually the year he proved the most about who he is. And you're going to find out what happens when you spend 2 full years doubting Xavier worthy, and why that might be the single biggest mistake you could make heading into 2026. But before we break this down for you, let me ask you something. If you've ever watched him play, drop a 1 in the comments. And with that, let's get started. So how does a kid from the Central Valley of California, a place the NFL world doesn't exactly comb through looking for first-round wide receivers, end up holding the most famous number in Combine history? You have to start in Fresno. Not the Fresno people imagine when they think California. Not the coast, not the weather, not the glamour. Fresno is the Central Valley. It is agriculture and highway and heat that settles in around June and doesn't leave until October. It is a city that produces hard people because the conditions demand it. Xavier Glenn Worthy was born there on April 27, 2003. He grew up there. And the person most responsible for who he became was his mother, Nikki Jones, a woman who has been in the stands, on the sideline, and in his corner since before he knew what a route tree was. She raised him as the oldest of 3, with 2 younger sisters, and if you have ever watched Xavier Worthy play football, the toughness he plays with is not an accident. It was installed early, and it was installed at home. He went to Central East High School in Fresno. As a freshman, he weighed 150 pounds and stood 5 feet 10. On a football field full of kids who had been playing longer and growing harder, that is not an easy starting point. But he also ran track, and by his sophomore year, he had posted a personal record of 10.55 seconds in the 100 meters. To put that in perspective, he was a sophomore in high school, and he finished 8th in the entire state of California in the 100 meters. The only sophomore in that state final. His body was still catching up to his speed, but his speed was already operating at a different level than almost anyone his age in the country. The football followed. His junior season at Central East 2019 was the kind of year that makes people start paying attention. 55 catches, 992 yards, 16 touchdowns. He led Central East to a perfect 15-0 record and the program's first ever SIF Division I AA state championship in school history. He was named to the All-American Bowl, the showcase game for the best high school players in the country. His recruiting ranking climbed to a 4-star prospect, the number 8 wide receiver in the class of 2021, the number 4 player in the entire state of California. The offers poured in. Michigan, Oregon, Texas, programs that don't offer players they aren't certain about. And then came 2020, the pandemic. The season was canceled. His senior year, the final chapter that every high school athlete earns the right to play, simply did not happen. No last ride. No final game under the lights, no send-off. The screen just went dark. He had been selected for the All-American Bowl, and that game was canceled too. Xavier Worthy's high school career ended not with a final snap, but with silence. He had originally committed to Michigan. Then an administrative issue changed the path, and he flipped to Texas. It was not the most dramatic decision of his life, it was just the next step. He arrived in Austin in 2021 as an 18-year-old true freshman on a roster full of players who had been there longer, developed further, and grown bigger. And in his very first season, he caught 62 passes for 981 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns in 12 games. He broke Roy Williams' Texas school record for freshman receiving yards. Roy Williams, who went on to a Pro Bowl NFL career. The coaches named him Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year. Associated Press named him Big 12 Newcomer of the Year. In Week 6 against Oklahoma, he put up 9 catches, 261 yards, and 2 touchdowns, a single-game freshman record at Texas that had stood for decades. People started learning his name fast, and that is exactly when it got harder. Sophomore year, 2022. The expectations were set. Defenses knew who he was now. And through the first half of the season, he was fine, still productive, still dangerous, still the best receiver on the field most nights. Then something shifted. The drops started. The efficiency dipped. He finished with 60 catches for 760 yards and 9 touchdowns. Respectable numbers for most receivers, but a visible step back from what everyone thought they had seen. In the Alamo Bowl against Washington, he dropped passes downfield in a moment when Texas needed him. The criticism landed hard. Analysts wrote about regression. Fans questioned whether the freshman explosion had been a fluke, whether defenses had figured him out, whether he was too small to hold up over a full season at the college level. Nobody knew. Nobody knew because Steve Sarkisian had kept it quiet the entire time, protecting his player and protecting the team. It wasn't until the first day of spring practice in March 2023 that Sarkisian stood in front of reporters and said it plainly. The one guy it was great to have back out there today, which you guys didn't know. And I tried to protect this throughout the season, but Xavier had a broken hand essentially the second half of the season. A broken hand. For a wide receiver, that is not a minor inconvenience. That is the tool of the trade. Sarkisian went further. Anytime you're a receiver and you're playing with a broken hand, that's a pretty important aspect of your game. That guy never wanted to sit out, not play. He came to work. He fought through it. There were days, Sarkisian said, where the coaching staff deliberately avoided throwing him the ball in practice just to give his hand a rest. And he still showed up. He still played. He never said a word publicly about why. Xavier Worthy's response to finding out his name had been quietly cleared. He went and had the best season of his college career. In 2023, he caught 75 passes for 1,014 yards and 5 touchdowns. First team All-Big 12 for the second time. He led Texas to the Big 12 championship, where he put up 6 catches for 86 yards before an ankle injury in the fourth quarter sent him to the sideline on crutches. He came back for the Sugar Bowl, told reporters he wanted to show the world the real me, and went out and performed through the pain. Texas finished the year in the college football playoff. And then Xavier Worthy made his decision. March 2nd, 2024, Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis, the NFL Scouting Combine. He lines up for his first 40-yard attempt. The clock stops at 4.25, not bad. He lines up again. This time the unofficial reading comes back 4.22. Then the official clock confirms it 4.21 seconds. The scoreboard in Indianapolis freezes on that number and the building erupts. John Ross had held that record since 2017, 7 years, and it was gone. Tyreek Hill, a man who spends considerable energy reminding people he is the fastest player alive, tweeted 4.2 is crazy sheesh. Patrick Mahomes tweeted a joke about his own 40 time. And Xavier Worthy, standing on the field at Lucas Oil, told NFL Network's Stacey Dales it's crazy. I've been watching the combine my whole life. Since John Ross ran that 4.22, I never thought I'd be on this stage and run that. Then he went home and posted 2 things on X. First, business handled. Second, turn on the film the roots there, don't let that lil 40 mess your head up. He had just set the most famous athletic record in pre-draft history. And his immediate instinct was to make sure nobody reduced him to a single number. The 2024 NFL Draft, April 25th, Detroit, the Kansas City Chiefs were sitting at pick 32. Then Brett Veach picked up the phone. The Chiefs traded up 4 spots, from 32 to 28, pick 25, pick 26, pick 27, and then pick 28, Kansas City Chiefs. Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, Texas, the fastest player in combined history, was going to line up across from Patrick Mahomes. The season opener, September 6th, 2024, Thursday Night Football, Kansas City versus Baltimore, a rematch of the AFC Championship. The building was already buzzing. 5th play of the game, Mahomes fakes the handoff to Isaiah Pacheco and flips the ball to Worthy in motion behind him. Worthy catches it, looks up, and hits his speed. He weaves through the Ravens defense 21 yards. First NFL touch, first NFL score. The Chiefs' first touchdown of the 2024 season. Tyreek Hill, watching from Miami, tweeted, "That boy rolling, oh my god." In the 4th quarter, with the game still in the balance, Mahomes found Worthy streaking behind the Ravens' secondary 35 yards touchdown. 3 touches, 68 yards. 2 scores. Andy Reid met the press afterward and said Xavier coming out as a rookie and having a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, that was beautiful. The rookie finished the regular season with 59 catches, 638 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And then, in the playoffs, the stage where quarterbacks find the guys they trust, Mahomes went to him 19 times for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy had arrived. And then came Brazil. Snap 3. Travis Kelce. The collision. The shoulder. Worthy did not go on injured reserve. He did not have surgery and come back next year healthy. He played 650 snaps with a torn labrum and a dislocated shoulder, and an ankle injury layered on top of that. The final numbers: 42 catches, 532 yards, 1 touchdown. The Chiefs went 6-11. The criticism was immediate and it was loud. Regression, bust concerns. Questions about whether he could actually develop into the receiver Kansas City needed him to be. And through all of it, the losing season, the injury, the noise, he said almost nothing. In January 2026, after successful surgery on the torn labrum, Xavier Worthy posted on X, "Keep doubting me, y'all are making a monster." Not an explanation, not a defense. Just a statement of what comes next. At the Chiefs' mandatory minicamp in June 2026, he stood in front of reporters and said, "Obviously, I know what kind of player I could be and what things I could do on the field and what I can bring to the team. That's going to show for itself." And Andy Reid, who has coached Hall of Famers and watched great players come through Kansas City for decades, said of his receiver, "Yeah, he just goes 100 miles an hour. I check on him during the game and he always tells me everything's fine." From the heat of Fresno to the noise of Arrowhead. From a senior year that was taken by a pandemic to a rookie night that nobody in Kansas City will forget. From drop passes that nobody understood to a broken hand that nobody knew about. From a 40-yard dash that rewrote history to 650 snaps with a shoulder that should have been in a sling. He has never explained himself. He has never asked you to lower the standard. He has just kept showing up faster, tougher, and more certain than the last time you doubted him. Xavier Worthy. Number 1. A Kansas City Chief. And the monster is just getting started. Be sure to hype the video and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.